He looked over towards the source of the sound. At the entrance of the third floor, an old man who had white hair, white brows, and a white beard was staring him. Chu Feng knew that he was an elder who guarded the martial skill building. Although he seemed to be almost 100 years old, the elder's strength was very strong. "Thank you for your reminder, but I have my own plans." After respectfully saluting to the elder, he walked in. "Oh, another arrogant disciple." The elder who was guarding shook his head with disappointment. He had seen many disciples just like Chu Feng, and most of them ended in failure. The ones that failed lightly fixed their ways, but the ones that failed heavily completely walked on the wrong path and forfeited their good future. But even so, when the elder saw a new face coming in, he would kindly remind them to avoid any more disciples going on the wrong path. Chu Feng walked around on the third level, and he quickly picked a skill book that he liked and brought it up to the elder to register it. "Are you sure you want to train in this illusionary palm?" The elder looked at Chu Feng with doubt. "Hmm." Chu Feng smiled and nodded. "Did you look over the description of this skill?" the elder continued to ask. "I have seen it." Chu Feng smiled once again. "Yet you still choose it? This is the hardest one in the entire martial skill building." The elder really did not understand. "This is exactly the one that I want to train in." Chu Feng still hung his smile on his face, but his gaze was abnormally resolute. Sigh, the youth these days really don't know their limits. The elder sighed, but he still registered for Chu Feng. After giving back the skill book, he added, "Remember to know what point to stop." Chu Feng nodded, representing that he accepted the advice. Although the elder was always doubting Chu Feng had a very good impression of him, and he felt that he was a responsible elder. But just as Chu Feng turned around, a familiar body rubbed his shoulder and passed. It was Duan Yuxuan, and his face was extremely ugly. Chu Feng did not know him well, so he didn't think any more about it. But just as he prepared to leave, he heard whispers behind him, and then he also understood why Duan Yuxuan was depressed. "Isn't that Duan Yuxuan? I thought he already had a rank 4 skill book, so why is he here choosing another skill book? Or is the rank 4 skill book on Yang Tianyu? You don't know?" In the feast last night, the inner court elders reminded them that the rank 4 skill book cannot be shared, and only one person could train in it. After they heard the elder say that, the both of them just looked blank. Then they finally confessed to the crowd. It turned out that they weren't first in the exam, and there was another person that killed the 40 fierce beasts. So something like that happened. But why did they admit in doing it at the start? Who knows? Maybe they wanted face, but this time they really lost all of it. True, but who was first? I don't recall that someone was so strong in the outer court. 40 fierce beasts, and there was even a rank 4 in one of them. It really is unimaginable on how tough that person would be. As he listened to that, Chu Feng smiled and shook his head while walking to the next floor. He really wanted to start training. The fourth floor was the same as the first. It was also overcrowded. The new disciples were currently choosing the skill books, so these were the older disciples. Chu Feng looked over. Although it was said to be a floor, it could be better said to be a martial arts training ground. There were at least 1,000 people training with mechanisms, and their yelling extended in all directions. It was quite spectacular. Also, other than the thousands of mechanisms in the main hall, there were countless private rooms which were also for training. It was a pretty good design. The ones that liked to be lively could join in with the people in the main hall, and they could help each other as they sparred. The ones who enjoyed the silence could choose a private room and train there by themselves. After the stone door closed, they would be isolated from all the disturbances. Chu Feng did not join them, and he went straight to the 6th floor. It was similar to the 3rd floor, but it was a lot more quiet. There were also a lot more places for training. Chu Feng entered a private room. After closing the stone door, he bowed to the mechanism pillar because he knew that the pillar was going to be ruined by him. The mechanism pillar was made out of steel and wood, so it was extremely sturdy. If it was attacked, it would automatically dodge. The dodging speed changed according to the opponent's attacking speed. Unless one perfected in cultivating a martial skill, it was very hard to damage it, thus it was the best equipment for training. Illusionary Palm. Using the power of the wind from the palm to formlessly control the enemy. Chu Feng looked over the cultivating method for the illusionary palm. Then he went in front of the mechanism pillar. Whoosh, whoosh. He suddenly extended his hands and he saw that his palm created two traces. They attacked towards 2 points on the mechanism pillar. Swoosh, swoosh. But just as they were going to land, the pillar swayed left and right, dodging Chu Feng's attack with lightning speed. At that instant, Chu Feng couldn't help but be at a slight loss, but then he quickly smiled with relief. Interesting. From that day forth, other than eating and sleeping, Chu Feng would always be in the martial skill building, and he trained non-stop. The 3 Thunder Styles, created by the founder of the Azure Dragon School. Although it was extremely mysterious, it was also extremely hard to cultivate in. As for the illusionary palm, there was a reason why the elder called it as the hardest skill to train in the entire martial skill building. However, after training for a while, Chu Feng slowly understood the nature of the 2 skills, the 3 Thunder Styles. It was extremely tough and fierce. It was as fast as lightning and as strong as thunder. Every move and every style could take the life of the enemy, and it was very mighty. The illusionary palm. It was actually the complete opposite, replacing the reality and attacking when they get caught off guard. Although it wasn't as valiant as the 3 Thunder Styles, it was still quite the skill, and they were different in their own ways. After a good 10 days of minimal meals and sleeping, Chu Feng finally grasped the 2 types of skills. Although it couldn't be said that he perfected the illusionary palm, there wasn't much difference to it. On the other hand, he only successfully trained in the first 2 style of the 3 Thunder Styles. But even so, when Chu Feng successfully used the second style, he was shocked by the strong power. On the 3rd floor in the martial skill building, the elder who guarded was still the same, and Chu Feng was returning the illusionary palm. What? Did you reach a dead end? The elder looked at Chu Feng with a bit of mock in his eyes, and the corner of his mouth showed that he was a bit proud of himself. Chu Feng did not reply and just smiled, but in the elder's eyes, Chu Feng's smile meant that he silently confirmed it. Go to the 1st floor and start from the rank, 1 skills. Taking back the skill book, the elder reminded with goodwill. Thank you, elder. Chu Feng saluted and took his leave. He knows when to back off, so he still understands a bit. Looking at the departing back of Chu Feng, the elder nodded. The martial skill building was not open for the entire day. When the sun setted, the martial skill building would close, and at that time all the elder guards would need to check the skill books and the mechanisms. What's this fuss about that needs me to personally go and see? Elder Ouyang, you have to check this out. I haven't seen such a strong disciple in such a long time. On the staircase, a middle-aged man was leading a white-haired elder, and they were heading towards a private room on the 6th floor. Within the private room, the indestructible mechanism pillar was full of dents, and it was almost able to be scraped. As he saw at the mechanism pillar, the white-haired elder's face became extremely heavy, and he looked at it carefully. This is... But as he found out that there were shallow palm marks one after the other on the mechanism, he couldn't help but be astonished. With his experience, he could instantly tell that the pillar was damaged by the illusionary palm. But in the inner court, there were very few disciples that could train the illusionary palm to that degree. Also, those who were able to already left to experience the outside world, and pretty much none of them remained in the martial skill building to train. After some deep thinking, the eyes of the elder suddenly lit up, and he said with shock, "Don't tell me it's him?"